Welcome back to another edition of the Bettor Hour live on MSG, your favorite hour of sports betting talk and everything else under the sun. Katie Mox, Eric Coleman, John Henson, Jeff Johnson, and you locked into MSG Network Studios. Alex Monaco, player to be played, and be here later will join us
on the bench.
That's right. It's coming on soon. But now we're getting into tonight. It's the NBA draft. It's like Christmas for a lot of NBA fans and players. This is the night where a lot of fortunes change for players and teams. New beginnings. You're getting into the league. Some of the most memorable moments are going to happen tonight, and we're getting into it from all the team and player angles. And let's start off with this draft order, man. Like Woj has already said, it's going to be Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren, and Paolo Banchero, right? That's our 1, 2, 3. Do we think Jabari's going to be the number one?
I got Jabari number one.
Yeah.
We can start off with the GM, John Hammond. He drafted Giannis. He drafted Jonathan Isaac, Mo Bamba. Jabari Smith fits into that mold. 6'10", 40% three-point shooter. He plays multiple positions. He's the best shooter in the draft at 6'10". He checks all the boxes for the number one pick. And he's definitely, I think that's a lock.
So, yeah, I can see it happening, but I mean, Chet Holmgren does as well. Right? I mean, he can handle the ball well. He's tall, he's lanky, he can shoot the three. I think he might shoot it at a just as close a clip as Jabari. But Jabari, when you look at him physically, he looks like he's more ready to just be inserted into that lineup for sure.
Yeah, I mean, who am I to disagree with Woj, you know? Except for when he's talking about sports betting. But yeah, I'd like Jabari Smith to go number one as well.
Right, and I think the only way this shakes up is if something happens like a trade, right? Like if there's a trade or anything that goes on, this could throw this entire scene out of whack. Right. So let's get to it. What teams do you think, John, are trying to trade up in any point in this draft?
I've heard Detroit trying to move up. They have Troy Weaver, who's from the OKC War Chest. They grabbed him. Actually, when I was there, he's been really aggressive. He traded Jeremy Grant the other day. He's trying to move up in the draft. He's trying to acquire picks. I think they're trying to have that OKC mold, and the draft is where they start.
Listen, OKC right now, I feel like it's like Scrooge McDuck in the money bin with all the draft picks and assets they're swimming around. I've heard of course, the Knicks, the Washington Wizards, Portland, Detroit. Detroit just traded Jeremy Grant.
Right.
So they've already got the party started, and they did it for a cap space move.
Right.
They didn't even get rid of their picks. So there's a lot of teams right now that's on the horizon that's looking to make those trades. And there's even stuff that we haven't heard yet. Even the DeJounte Murray trade, possible trade with Atlanta, with the Spurs. Everyone is talking. Everyone is trying to make sense of this. Everybody's getting into player positioning. How much do you put into the draft and the trade talk?
It's smoke screens. You just never know. This might be a smoke screen. They might be telling the truth. I do think Detroit is gearing up to throw some money at someone. I don't think they want to sit on the sidelines, and they have the number one pick, and they need to kind of expedite that build. Maybe go get Ayton. Started with Cade Cunningham, Ayton, and build from there. I think there's
John, as a player on draft night, how do you handle the possibilities of getting traded and not knowing where you're going to go? I feel like in the NBA things are so much more volatile than they are.
Yeah, it's one of those things you can't really stress about it. Your agent's going to call you. I've been traded and I didn't know, and I've been traded and I did know. So you just never know.
Better
man.
to know.
Better to know, but I've been traded on the way to a game. So it's a real volatile situation. And I mean, there's guys like Kyrie and LeBron's, that still don't really know what teams are going to do too as well. So
yeah, it's just so much different than the NFL. It's like you see guys on the team and like, oh, he played for this team, that team. They continue to trade, and it's until you find that location, you're going to be on the move for sure.
John, is there a team that you think absolutely should make a trade here?
Oh, let me see. I know we're in New York. I'm going to say I think the Knicks need to shake it up a little bit. Right? We're going to talk about that a little later, but the Knicks got to shake it up. They kind of regressed last year. I think they put too much on Julius Randle, but that's just my short spiel. We'll be talking about them a little more.
Okay. Yeah, I think they need that franchise, lead combo.
Yeah, something's got to happen, and a lot of plans got to be put into place, right? We got a lot of players in this draft. Seems like this is a top-heavy draft with our three previous mentioned and Jaden Ivey.
Right.
Who do you see as a player that's going to have the most immediate impact in the league?
If all of them goes well and Banchero goes to Houston, I think he becomes a featured piece with Jalen Green. They're going to give him the ball. They're going to roll the ball out, let him go. I don't know how I feel about Houston's roll the ball, let it go philosophy, but that's going to prime him to get a lot of experience, probably Rookie of the Year. They traded away Christian Wood. They're gearing up to have the big fella in town to take over.
Yeah, I think that their style is good for a lot of buckets.
Yes.
You know, it's going to be a lot of L's, and it's going to be a lot of buckets,
Right.
but this is going to be the training ground. It's almost, they're getting to reset. Houston's getting to reset now with Jalen Green and possibly Paolo too.
Yeah.
So I think that's something. I'm really interested in Chet Holmgren, though. Like, if he goes to OKC and you have him and Giddey and Shea on the team,
Yeah.
I feel like they'll have a foundation where eventually OKC's gonna have to use some of them picks or something to get in some veterans, because these three together can make like an immediate impact, I think.
I like Holmgren. He's going to be a good player. He's skilled. He's tall. He's athletic. I think it's a no-brainer that he'll be successful. At what level, we don't know, but he'll be fine.
I love his defense.
Right.
You know, he doesn't get enough credit for his defense. He's a shot blocker. He's athletic, and I love what you just mentioned with OKC. It kind of reminds you of back in the day when they had Durant,
Yeah.
when they had Harden, when they had Westbrook. Those are all guys who they got through the draft, and unfortunately they changed teams. But if they can keep that core together, you have some good potential.
Yeah, for sure. And then, you know, this is a global league,
Right.
global game, a lot of international players coming through.
Yeah.
John, who do you see as an international player making an impact?
I like Vasily Micic. You know who has his rights?
Who?
OKC.
Of course.
Of course they do. So,
They have our rights too at this point. We're going to be on OKC TV soon at some point.
He's the best player in Europe, former MVP, two-time champion. He's number 3 in points this year, 5th in assists. He's a Serbian guy. Jokic is pushing Denver to go get him. Denver's trying to position themselves to go get him. So he's one of those guys that is going to come in and make an immediate impact. You see what they did with Campazzo, and he's actually a free agent this year. So maybe they'll swap out European guys and see what happens.
Yeah, it's
There's
almost
another
like,
Nikola Jokic, right? On the
I think
that's
so.
being drafted. Yeah, it's
Is it
one
Jokic?
letter different.
It
It's
might
one
be
letter different.
One letter different.
That's crazy.
Well, what can I say? My name's Jeff Johnson. Like, we are worldwide. We're millions of us worldwide, right? And Denver is almost taking the Spurs' old formula of getting the best international stars and putting them together. So it's gonna be interesting to see. This is why we love draft night.
Right.
Anything can happen. And when we come back on the Bettor Hour, look, we got the man John Henson, we got Alex Monaco on the Bettor half hour set talking draft night stories. Lock in with us.